Dear friends, welcome to our new video. If you are not subscribed the channel, please hit subscribe button and activate the bell button. This video will search the answer of the question, what exactly is creativity? We could all use a little more creativity now and then, don't you think? Many of us seem to believe it is out of our reach or that we must come up with something new. So, what do we mean when we say that someone is creative? Creative and create are all words that describe creativity. This month in England signifies the end of summer, the beginning of autumn, the start of a new school year, and the beginning of many new initiatives in business, life, and a lot more. In order for someone to maintain a change in their life, the approach they take often needs to become attractive or appealing. And it may not remain attractive or appealing for as long as we like it to remain. Many people tell me they struggle to stay enthused or to invest the necessary amount of energy to see a project or goal through to completion. As a result, today's topic will be enhancing creativity. It is possible to make more from everyday experiences and perceptions when you become more creative. It is possible to make life more colorful and enjoyable when you are creative. In other words, what exactly is the definition of creativity? Creativity is something we can all do because it involves making new connections in our brains, which is a physiologic fact. The cutting edge of the mind is characterized by its capacity for creative thinking. It frequently entails a great deal of exploration. You increase your brain power and mental and interpersonal flexibility by making new connections, which can allow you to do a wider range of things with greater ease in the long run. Just think about it. Every time you connect two things, a third one emerges. This new connection can then open up new avenues of inquiry and possibilities for exploration. Take your brain as an example of the systemic impact this could have. In 1965, Neil Armstrong became the first human to set foot on the moon. That experience altered our worldview and how we thought about the cosmos forever. Human ingenuity and skill were also altered by this event. It showed us that if we really want something, we can come up with creative solutions to problems we previously thought were insurmountable. In my opinion, this helped liberate many people's perceptions of human potential. Recently, I heard on the radio that there are also plans to set foot on Mars in the not-too-distant future. It was always a dream of mine to be an astronaut. The same potential exists for being creative on a personal level, by connecting seemingly unrelated ideas. You can transcend both of them, forming new perspectives on who you are and what you are capable of. Working with children is a passion. While playing football for hours and days on end as a kid, I wasn't just daydreaming about scoring in the World Cup final, I was actually doing it. I was there at Wembley Stadium when he scored that goal, I swear to you. Every one of us has been a child at some point in our lives, and some of us still are. The way children discover and interpret their surroundings demonstrates their inventiveness. Many children create new worlds while playing with toys, and they don't necessarily require expensive or specialized toys, equipment, or props to do so. Instead, the meaning comes from within the children themselves, it comes from outside of them. To be creative, you must allow yourself permission, time, and energy to make new connections and links. It's more about the journey than the destination. Changing habits, updating behaviors, resolving issues, or just making life happier can all be creative endeavors, whether at home or at work. When it comes to words, ideas, thoughts, materials, food, and the type of fun you have, you can be as creative as you want. The world around you and your inner world can both inspire creativity. Additionally, creativity results in the birth of something entirely new. For example, an insight is creative because it leads to a new conclusion based on information you already have. It is the new perspective that is the differentiator. The ability to think outside the box is essential for us. It's about being absorbed and enjoying what you're doing, paying attention to the small details, having a big picture in mind, and being excited and playful. Is your creative genius locked away? Everyone has the capacity to be imaginative. Finding out how to do something isn't as important as actually learning how to do it. Here are the 8 keys to releasing your inner creative force. 1. Act as if you're a kid. Adults have a tendency to think in a conditioned manner in order to demonstrate their superior intelligence. However, as children, we lacked inhibitions and were far more inventive thinkers. If you want to recapture your childlike curiosity, allow yourself to wonder about things, Be fully present in the present moment, and let go of what you thought was real. 2. Re-establish contacts. To be creative, you don't need a degree from a prestigious university, all you need to do is connect existing ideas. For example, did you know that while ice cream was invented in 2000 BC, the cone didn't appear until 3,900 years later? Inventiveness occurs when two seemingly unrelated things are brought together with a little bit of creativity. 3. Possess some irrationality. The desire to neatly bundle things is a distinctly Western trait. We would rather have problems solved and questions answered than to continue asking them. 4. Creativity necessitates a tolerance for the uncomfortable. The Eastern culture has a better grasp on the concept of discordance. Think of it like this: what does it sound like if one hand is clapping? 5. Increase your laughter. According to Tom Peters, the level of creativity in a workplace can be gauged using a lachometer, or the frequency with which employees can be heard laughing. One of the most powerful tools of the creative process is humor. It jars us from our routines and forces us to consider concepts we wouldn't normally consider. Students' ability to solve problems increases by 60% after listening to comedy tapes, according to research. 6. Experiment with new ideas. Many of the things we take for granted now were invented by people who pushed the boundaries of what was possible. At a hotel computer conference in the 1980s, John Lynn recalls hearing a joke about future computerized door entry systems. There were computer-programmed key cards at every door when he returned to the same hotel 20 years later. Adoption and adaptation are two terms that describe the same thing. Blue sky thinking isn't necessary to be creative. Adapting what works elsewhere will allow you to be creative even if you don't have much experience. Using the techniques of Formula One pit crews, an American airline was able to reduce turnaround times for its flights. 7. Nature can be a good place to get inspiration. Velcro was invented by Georges de Mestral, who adapted the way certain seeds adhered to clothing. 8. Recall your hopes and aspirations. It's when we relax and let the subconscious mind work on its own that dreaming and daydreaming can create a rich seam of ideas for us. Washing up creativity is what the Rafi Park Management Institute dubs it, because most of our best ideas strike while we're out walking the dog or bathing like Archimedes. I promise that if you use these 7 creative thinking techniques on a regular basis, you'll find new solutions to your problems much more quickly. Is there a relationship between innovation and rebellion? It's no secret that creative people aren't afraid to question authority figures in their professional and academic lives. Being a creative person can seem like a bit of a rebellious act. Yes, according to the author, but this does not always have to lead to conflict. Education is the key to changing this for the better. Research on creative people has shown time and time again that being open to new ideas, taking risks, and being self-directed all contribute to creativity. Creativity is often seen as a countercultural trait. Is this true for creative people as well? Sometimes the answer is yes, and other times the answer is no. Say, for example, that Jeremy is a gifted student who struggles academically. His daydreaming and poor performance on standardized tests may cause teachers and parents to label him a failure. Right brain thinking skills are likely underappreciated and undeveloped in him. Or take Alicia as an example, a high school teacher who works in a limiting setting. She is eager to experiment with new teaching methods, but her coworkers are stuck in the past and even hostile to her ideas. People who are creative will find it difficult to work in environments that are overly regimented, and they will become dissatisfied with monotonous tasks. Creative children often experience academic difficulties because their right brain minds wander while teachers using their left brains try to make them memorize information that these creative children instinctively see as irrelevant or trivial to understanding the big picture of life. When creatives enter the workforce, their situation often worsens because of the constraints of the workplace. Some people may end up in a job that isn't a good fit for their skills and abilities because they didn't take the time to carefully choose their career path. Sadly, they may only learn this the hard way if they are bored and frustrated in their jobs. Workplace social dynamics may also be a factor. Every workplace has a unique character that develops and changes over time organically. Some workplaces reward innovative thinking and take risks, making it a great place for a creative, risk taker. Other work environments are more formal and conservative, which can be discouraging and cause tension and dissatisfaction. These individuals have a strong desire to maintain the status quo and are open-minded when it comes to new ideas. Innovators will feel isolated and rejected if they work in an environment that encourages it. These coworkers frequently have an unwritten code of conduct for dealing with people who are outliers. To a new idea-generating coworker, they send overt and covert rejection messages. For example, these signals may include ignoring a person's comments or offering tepid, hollow praise, or worse, punishments like threats and ridicule for putting forth ideas that are perceived as endangering the group's integrity. There are a lot of folks in the workplace who get used to their daily routines and defend them as sacred. For these individuals, creative and risk takers who propose new ways of doing things threaten their security zone by making them uncomfortable. Creative people are often at odds with those around them and frustrated by organizations and work environments that are inflexible. All of this suggests that creative people will be. Creative people are drawn to novelty and new ideas and ways of doing things. As a result, they often come up with creative alternatives to conventional wisdom. Experiencing frustrations in school or the workplace can lead some creative people to develop a disobedient attitude toward rules and authority. So, when this happens, there's likely to be a downward spiral of frustration and conflict between the parties involved. Unfortunate consequences of creative people being unsuccessfully integrated into the workplace community include a career change or disciplinary actions. Only by making organizations and individuals aware of the interpersonal dynamics that separate different personality types from one another can these negative manifestations of rebellion be avoided. People often use the Myers-Briggs Personality Inventory, MBPI, and then discuss their scores with one another. The purpose of this test is to open the discussion of interpersonal response styles and to respect each other for their differences, not necessarily to be rigorous in terms of accepted statistical measures of reliability or validity. It is common to use sociological terms such as gender, race, and age to describe workplace diversity. Creativeness, on the other hand, receives much less attention than other critical personality and interpersonal differences like intelligence. However, one of the most critical aspects of an organization's health and survival is the ability to think creatively and take calculated risks. So that they don't fall into the traps of blind rebellion and open conflict, organizations must improve their ability to identify and nurture the creativity of all of their employees. It's not to say that brainstorming and other common group activities foster creativity. Some of the differences between creative types and other employees include interpersonal differences, the ability to direct one's own thoughts, and work habits. These disparities in both style and substance must be discussed in an open and friendly environment. It is also necessary to teach creative people to understand and appreciate their own needs, which can only be met in specific ways. It's possible that they'll do well as artists, entrepreneurs, or in other fields that reward boldness, risk-taking, and outlandishness. For this reason, our educational system must better serve creative children and provide learning opportunities that are tailored to their preferences. It's in everyone's interest when schools and workplaces educate students and employees about creativity and are better equipped to integrate it into the community. If you liked the video, press like and have a look on the references in the description box.